So hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fallen Protectors 10-man heroic in the Siege of Orgrimmar raid, and this is the Boomkin guide. First of all, I must say I am really disappointed in this fight. This fight is dumb. It feels like Blizzard made the normal mode and then they went, oh shit, we need to add something and make a heroic mode. So they did, and it is really stupid. So for those of you who don't know, let me explain this to you. When one of the bosses goes in his transitional phase, the other two bosses can now use all their abilities. So stuff like Calamity, or the Spitting Crane Bollocks Kick, or the Backstab with Garrote, stuff like that. Plus, when Softfoot garrotes you, or Shadow Steps you, whatever, he will use a poison. He will either use the instant poison that does a shit ton of damage, or he will use the poison that makes a puddle underneath you, which is really hard to see. So put your particle density up to ultra or you're boned. Sun Tenderheart, every time she uses Calamity, the damage of the next Calamity is increased. And Rook Stonetoe, every time he throws a keg, the next keg will be thrown faster. And this buff drops when you take them down to 66 and 33% and they go through the transitional phase. That's where the stacks reset. But the fact that they can use all their abilities when one of them is in the transitional phase is really dumb, because it just doesn't work. People will get comboed down. It's happened to us so many bloody times within these, I don't know, 7 pulls, whatever. Someone's standing there, he has 100% health, and suddenly he drops dead. We're like, what happened? Well, he backstabbed me, he used instant poison, and she used Mind Seer on me, or she did Calamity, and I just died. Just died out of nowhere. Or what happened to me one time is when Softfoot goes through the transitional phase, he will send down this rogue that locks you down. You have to throw the rogue around the raid, between people with the extraction button. But you have to wait, 5 seconds before you can use the extraction button. So what happened was, well, the rogue came down, stunned me, and before I was able to throw him away and release myself, Rook Stonetoe jumped on top of my face and Spinning Crane kicked me to death. And there was nothing I could have done. I just died. And I was like, well, that's a thing, apparently. So yeah, really, really disappointed. But now let's talk about talents and all the good stuff. So on the screen you can see my preferred talent choice for this fight. Feline Swiftness, because Displacer Beast is fairly useless on this fight, okay? The arena is not too big, and there is not any, like, oh shit, I have to blink there moments. Usually it's just like, I have to do, like 4 steps to the right or to the left, or whatever. Feline Swiftness will just save you some time, which means it will increase your deeps. Renewal, as I've said, damage on this fight is insanely spiky, and this will help you keep yourself alive. Incarnation, you have 3 targets at all times. So Incarnation is just amazing. You will explode with damage if you're using Incarnation correctly. Disorienting Roar is very handy because of Rook Stonetoe. When he goes in his transitional phase on heroic mode, you have to set up and interrupt rotation for one of the adds or you will die horribly. He does so much bloody damage, and it's splash damage as well. But with that said, you should not be in the core interrupt rotation. You should be a backup. Okay, when someone fucks it up, you should be the one that goes, oh yeah, I can kick it now, and you can continue with your thing. Also, you should be using Solar Beam on Sun Tenderheart when she does Mind Seer, because it does a lot of damage, and once again it's AoE, so people either have to run away from the raid or you can kick it, it's fine. And we're taking Heart of the Wild because it's Heart of the Wild, and Heart of the Wild is amazing, okay? The DPS requirement on this fight is not high, okay? We did it with 3 healers, and I was using Tranquility and Heart of the Wild, and we still had like 2 minutes left to go or something. So, Heart of the Wild, yes, very good indeed. Now let's talk about some tips. So, keep dots on everything. Okay, you will get so many shooting stars. Even with the nerf, you will get so many shooting stars. It's insane. This fight was made for Boomkins, basically. Well, Boomkins, Warlocks, and Fire Mages. On this fight, it feels so good because you get so many shooting stars, you can move around the place without losing any DPS, and it feels absolutely amazing. Tip number 2, if you don't have enough mages, paladins, hunters that can cheese the ad from Softfoot, the one that locks you down, because you can actually cheese it with Palibubble, Ice Block, Deterrence and stuff like that. If you don't have enough people after that, don't throw it under the tank because they will get punched in the face really hard, okay? On heroic mode, if they get the armor debuff or the increased damage taken debuff, whatever it is, they will probably die. It does a lot of damage. We have 2 DKs and they weren't really happy with the debuff. So, if you don't have enough people for that, you can just jump into bear form with Might of Ursoc and Barkskin. You can tank him for quite a while. Tip number 3, when Sun Tenderheart reaches 66 or 33% health and she makes the big bubble of doom, use Stampeding Roar so people can get in there faster and not lose as much health. Now, this won't be a tip number 4, okay? Ask your healers about this. I was using Tranquility and Heart of the Wild when Rook Stonetoe got into his transitional phase, okay? Usually you would use it with Sun Tenderheart, but on Heroic, the damage when she's, in her transitional phase in the big bubble in the middle, the damage is very steady, and our healers had absolutely no problem with that. But when Rook Stonetoe is in his transitional phase, the damage is just insanely spiky. Everyone's at full health, suddenly 5 people are at 10% health. And you're like, oh shit, what's going on? Panic, panic, panic. So ask your healers about this, okay? And just communicate with them. Oh, should I use it with Rook Stonetoe or Sun Tenderheart? Ow, just hit my face. And other than that, your raid group should be stacked the entire time. So just move out of the way when you get Chassir or Mindseer, whatever it's called. I think it's Chassir from Sun Tenderheart. If you can't kick it, just move out of the raid. It will save your healer some mana. And the last thing is kind of weird, okay? When you're being chased down by Softfoot's ad, the one that locks you down, you have to throw it with the extraction button to another raid member. When I jumped into bear form as he was coming towards me, he was just like, oh no, I ain't touching that. Oh hell no, that's just too hairy for me. He picked a random raid member and just jumped onto him instead, without me doing anything. So there might be a bug, they might have already fixed it, but when I jumped into bear form as he was coming towards me, he was just like, oh fuck that, and he started beating on our mage instead. So there might be a bug, but if you're about to die, this might save your life actually. But anyway, that's it for this guide. I hope it helped you. I thank you a lot for watching and listening mostly. I wish you good luck with killing this boss, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Oh yeah, and by the way, I won't be using the kill footage in the background anymore. Talents are much better. The footage is too distracting for me and you, okay? And it's usually just the first kill, which means everyone is panicking and we're just trying to kill the boss and everyone's doing mistakes. And then people think that they should do that as well, which means they will do the mistakes too. So from now on, the guides will consist of me talking with talents in the background.